Hey guys, we're back. I know a Tuesday's podcast hasn't been uploaded in probably 2, maybe 3 months, but we made it back. I am not with Luke as you can. Oh God, I am not with Luke as you can see. I'm with my other roommate Brett. You've seen him in some of the vlogs.
I'm the funniest one.
He's, as he says, he's the funniest one in the vlogs. Whatever. No, yeah, we just got back from Indiana. We were there for quarantine, and we're the only two back to Orlando so far. So, new person on the podcast. You ready for this? You got this?
I'm ready.
Let's get it.
I'm so into you, I'm so into you.
All right, Brett. So, me and you were really good friends. If you would you agree with that? Would you agree that we're pretty good friends?
Yes.
We know a lot about each other.
Indeed.
I don't know a lot about your childhood.
You don't. Wow, you're jumping right into it.
I'm jumping right into it. While we're at it, why don't you tell me your deepest, darkest secret?
My deepest, darkest secret is that I love baths. I love baths.
What about a bath?
I just, oh my God, everything.
Everything
is like, it's just so relaxing, and just like I am just like here right now in this.
Have you ever taken an ice bath?
An ice bath? Yeah, those suck.
Why do they suck?
It hurts.
Does it?
You've never taken an ice? Have you ever?
When did you take an ice bath? Wouldn't it feel
when
nice
I played
if it was
sports?
Right, yeah, but if it was right.
No,
after
it hurts like a son of a bitch.
Oh shit! No, I've never taken an ice bath.
Yeah, it hurts like a motherfucker. I mean, eventually, like it hurts for a little bit, and then it goes numb because like it's all frozen and everything. But no, it hurts like a bitch.
Fuck.
Especially if you have like pain, then like really hurts that area of pain, and then it goes away, and then after it helps. That's why athletes take ice baths.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, you like nice? Do you like it like real hot, like?
Well, like yeah, hot is good.
Or do you like? Okay, so there's people like my mother who turn the shower knob all the way to the fucking as far as it'll go.
My mom does that too. When she comes out of the shower, she's like red.
What's up with the girls? And
dude,
taking,
females
like,
are
fiery showers?
Females are a different fucking species, man.
Oh, that's where they get all their anger out. They're getting the shower and they're like, "Ow, fuck up," and then they just get everything out.
I guess
everything
I don't
all
know.
At once. That's what I would do if I fucking got in that shower.
If
After
I was a
turned all
woman.
the way up. Actually, this shower I have to turn it all the way up because our fucking heat and our water pressure below.
Didn't you say something about a knob on the water heater?
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing.
It is. Denise told me about it.
It might be a thing on some things.
If a mother knows.
Yeah, I'm always listening to my mom.
It's the thing. So
shout out to mom, smartest person I know, aside from me.
Last Dance is on ESPN. So, speaking of your mother, how was she in your childhood? Talk to me about your childhood a little bit. Let's hear a little bit about your childhood. Who were you as a child? What was your school life like? Like, let's go into it a little bit.
How deep in the childhood do you want to go?
Or were you born in Fort Wayne?
No, I was born in Columbia City. Do you know
still
where
in
that
Indiana? Yeah.
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 It's like 20 minutes outside of Fort Wayne.
Okay.
That's where I was born. That's where my mom and dad are both from.
How'd they meet? Do you know that? Do they share that story with you?
Yeah. How'd they meet? Ooh, they probably have. I don't listen. I think... I don't know how they got introduced to each other, or like how she got introduced to my dad's friend group, but basically like she started dating one of my dad's friends, and like my dad was like really mad at him. He was like, "Ah, dude, come on, bro. Like you fucking knew that I liked her, and you still went out with her anyway." And then eventually they broke up, and my mom and dad were friends at first, and then they started hooking up, and my dad tried to pull out, and he failed. And now I'm here.
It's a classic high school love story.
But they have told me the first conversation they ever had was about Brett Favre. Mom was writing a history report, or not a history report, but like a paper or something on Brett Favre for one of her classes. And Dad is a huge Packer fan. And they had a conversation about him. That was their first conversation.
Was she also a Packer fan, or did she just randomly write an article?
No, she became a Packer fan because of Brett Favre. Something about Brett.
Why was she so intrigued?
The way he played the game.
Oh, okay.
Like he just like, it was like backyard football to that motherfucker, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like he never studied film. He never did tape. He just fucking went out there and just chucked the ball as hard and far as he
and
could.
He just has fun. If you look at the mic'd ups or those things with Brett Favre, they're fucking hilarious. They're awesome.
He's a large child. His dick pics, unfortunately, are unimpressive.
Couldn't have a conversation without Brett Favre without talking about his released dick pics, could we? But he's got some big dick energy, that's for sure.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah. So that's why I'm named Brett.
Oh yeah, that was the point of that story, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
I
was named after an Indiana basketball player, Luke Recker. People that followed Indiana basketball would know because he was under the Bobby Knight era and all that. But
was he the one that got slapped or choked?
nah, he wasn't. That was Todd. I forget his name. I forget the guy that got choked. But he was on the team and he left because of Bob Knight, one of the players. A lot of Indiana players or people will say that he was one of the best college basketball players to play at Indiana. That's why I got named after. After.
Better than Isaiah Thomas.
No, not bet. I didn't say the best. One of.
Oh, I was gonna
players
say.
that ever played at
I'm
IU.
pretty sure it's Isaiah
Pretty sure
Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas was the best. You're right. But okay, so your parents met. Dad tried to pull out. Didn't quite work. They had you. They have you before the marriage?
Yeah, I'm in the wedding pictures.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So you're a bastard.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure all
No.
of my friends are.
All right. Well.
I was trying to put it together. More people will be on the podcast, and we'll see later. But so you lived in Columbia City. Where'd you go to school then?
I did not. I was born in Columbia City. Then I've lived in Fort Wayne my whole life. Yeah. I went to school at a school called Lindley Elementary. It was a Spanish immersion school. Okay. So we spent half the day learning Spanish and half the day doing English. Yeah.
Why?
What do you mean why? Why what?
Why did your school teach Spanish half the time?
Because most of the kids were Hispanic. And
how did you do?
Well, I was a child, so like when you're at that age.
Oh, you're just learning.
I remember
whatever's there, whatever they're teaching, whatever they're trying to get across.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's like, you know, you're a kid and you might know English, but then you go to school to learn English. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's not why. It was just a very special school or something, but it was public. I'm not sure why they did it, but it was really cool. Anyway.
That's an interesting experience.
Anyway, I remember one time, or I don't remember one time. My mother has told me that I've done this. I remember I went home and she said, "Are you learning any Spanish?" And I said, "No, I'm not learning Spanish at all." And then she like came in because one, I wanted her to, and two, she said, "Why aren't they teaching my kids Spanish?" Mm-hmm. And she went in and the teachers like said something in full blown Spanish and we all just went and did it. So like either one, I lied to get attention, or two, the more likely scenario is that I was learning Spanish without even knowing I was learning Spanish. Because like little human brains are like so malleable.
And you don't remember? Oh yeah, you don't remember the story. So your mom didn't tell you like what she said or like what you guys were supposed to do or anything like that?
No, it was just like she gave instructions and then we just went and did those instructions. Like we spent half the day in Spanish.
It was instructions. So it wasn't like something basic that you guys are told to do every day. So you just picked up on that because you memorized the phrase.
Maybe, but
okay. I get. Yeah, you keep saying you just said you don't know. I guess you wouldn't know. Yeah, if it was something like.
But also,
if it was instructions, that's crazy.
Also, it just so happened that we learned like, if you're taking math or if you're taking Spanish and English, you're not going to learn math and English. You know, you're going to learn English and English. So we learned math and Spanish. Oh, so when my mom was doing flashcards with me, she would do them in English, and I was like a little slow, not like retarded, but I was like a little slower. And then she switched it to Spanish, and I was like, boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's crazy. That's
and
awesome.
then
so you learned Spanish at a very young age, but you couldn't recite anything in Spanish now.
Yeah, no, I know a little Spanish. I took it in high school, but what happened was, you know, in third grade, you take like the I-STEP test. It's like that's when you start. I-STEP is like standardized test. I'm pretty sure every state has their own little thing. But in third grade, standardized testing started, and Spanish went out the window. It was all about, here, pass this test, do this test, do this test. Here's the things you need for this test, and not just ISTEP, but acuity and all the like the standardized tests for the end of the quarter, the standardized test for the end of the semester, and then the standardized test for the end of the year. So everything was about those standardized tests. So we didn't learn Spanish anymore. There was not enough time.
Shit.
So,
So you were.
can we stop doing standardized tests?
So you were the minority in school, pretty much.
Yeah.
Was there any other white kids?
I was friends with one other white kid. The rest of my friend group was Hispanic or black.
Okay, good. I was about to say, I hope you weren't just friends with that one other white kid.
No. I was friends with everyone. I've always have been friends with everyone my whole life. No, but I was definitely the minority, but I didn't know. Like, you're a kid. You don't know. And that's the beautiful. That's like why. That's what, like, I don't know. How do we get so wrapped up in stuff like that, in meaningless stuff, when in reality kids are just kids, Oh, why do we stray so?
It's the way that their parents had raised them. Our parents have gone through different things, and their parents have gone through different things, and some of those things carry over, and they can carry over through generations. So the way that our parents were raised, some of the things that our parents were raised to do isn't accepted in today's
That's
generation.
not necessarily what I mean.
What do you mean?
Never mind. Ask me another question.
All right. Well, okay. So you went to a Spanish, and you said what grade was that through? That you went to this? Spanish
one through kindergarten through 5th grade.
Your entire elementary school, then. Okay. And then you went to.
Middle
school?
I went to a school called Shawnee Middle School.
How was that different? Was it easy to pick up or no?
What?
Like pick up where they were? Since you were going to a different school, teaching completely different things. Was it easy to pick up
again,
where
I
they
say
were and everything?
I say at the end of by 3rd grade, we were not learning Spanish anymore.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It was not like it pretty
much just had to learn everything that you're supposed to learn K through 5 in 2 years or 3 years or whatever.
No.
3rd through 5th.
No.
Yeah.
We learned things we were supposed to learn,
Correct.
just with Spanish being immersed into it.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. I wasn't just learning Spanish.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Maybe I'm retarded. Maybe I'm slow. But after that, so you were in middle school then.
Yeah.
At Shawnee.
Yeah.
So
that was not the middle school.
I don't know what Shawnee is, but Shawnee is like a predominantly.
It was. We had. It was.
School.
It was the biggest middle school in the biggest school district in Indiana. We had students from I think like 30 some different countries, 1st generation, 2nd generation. Like it was like super cultured, like people from everywhere. White again was the minority, but it was probably honestly about even black, Hispanic, Indian, white, Asian.
Everything like
there was just probably
that's awesome. Because my school was white. It was white as fuck. I went to Carroll Middle and Carroll High School, which is probably one of the whitest schools in the city, if not the whitest school in the city. And it was I didn't like it. It was just so all the kids were preppy and everybody.
It was like little boxes on the hillside. Like I don't know if you know that song, but that song's basically just about suburban white. Everything's the same. We're grown up to be the same. Like, don't be different from your peers. Like, it's like this weird paradox that we grow up in. It's like, be yourself, but don't be different. Mm-hmm. Like, how is a child supposed to grow up normally in that?
Exactly. It's
No, but I went to Shawnee, which was not the middle school that you're supposed to go to, that I was supposed to go to as Lindley. So I went to Shawnee without knowing anyone. So I was in middle school in the most awkward period of anyone's life ever, without knowing anyone. And again, I made friends with everyone. I made friends with the band kids. I made friends with the athletes. I made friends with the drug dealers. I made friends with the teachers. I made friends with everyone.
You've always been that way, though.
Yeah.
So you were there that way in elementary school, too?
And I remember that less so. That was less conscious and more just like me.
Do you remember what made you just want to talk to everybody? Like, what was
it wasn't that
thing that was just like, I want to...
I used to be a very introverted... I used to be a very introverted person. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It's something that just happened.
I mean, you kind of had to, damn near, going to like this middle school. that
Right,
you
but
didn't
again,
know
I don't remember ever going out of my way to make friends. Like it just sort of happened naturally in like a progression sort of thing. I never went out of my way. I've never ever done that.
And then high school.
And then
Went to-
I went to Leo High School, which is just about as wide as Carroll. I went
It's redneck, ain't it?
not necessarily, not as
No,
much.
that was a different school. I think I'm thinking Norwell.
There's some-
Norwell was
There's some redneck, but Leo's mostly like preppy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money at Leo. I do not come from money at all. I went there because I played baseball on a travel team in middle school. With our middle school didn't have a baseball team. Most middle schools don't, I believe, or at least in Indiana they don't. So I played on a travel team with kids from Leo. So I went there to play baseball. Ended up not playing baseball. Just didn't want to do it anymore. Decided to work starting freshman year.
So we've talked conversations before where we talk about baseball because you love baseball. Baseball is like the sport closest to you. It holds a special place in your heart. What made you stop wanting to play again? I think you told me before that it was just like a feeling.
Well, I was at the second or third open gym for baseball in the winter, and I was doing good, probably hitting the ball better than I've ever hit it. But I used like before I would just get this like feeling of pure joy, like hitting the ball off the sweet spot and like or like making a good throw to second base or whatever. And then I just wasn't feeling anything. Like it was just like I'm here and I'm working. And I'm like, like I'm not having fun with it anymore. So I stopped immediately, asked my mom for a job, got a job, and worked.
Where'd you get a job? Where'd your mom get you a job?
Ben's Pretzels, where she was the manager.
Oh.
Where I
What
lost
happened
my
about Ben's Pretzels?
virginity.
No, let's tell the story. What happened at Ben's Pretzels? What did you do at Ben's Pretzels?
So there was this girl.
I was a girl. Cool.
As far as I know.
It was dark. We closed.
There's this girl, and I was training her to close. And we hit it off.
See? It closed. It was... Yeah,
Oh.
no.
And I was training her to close, and we hit it off really well, and we had some good chemistry. And then, like, maybe the second or third night that I was with her, she's like, fuck me.
You just looked... You
No, she was
said,
like,
"Fuck
so,
me"?
no, I think, all right, so let
Oh,
me
she was
really
doing
dig
it as,
into
like,
it.
a joke.
No.
Oh, okay.
Let me dig back into the memory. Let's see. We were standing at like the cash register, and she like had her elbow like here, and she was like, "So when are you gonna fuck me?" And I was like, as a scared little 16-year-old virgin, I like my mouth went dry, and I got really nervous. I got really nervous. And I said, I don't know. and she said, well, there's a little there's the room, and it wasn't like the back room, but it was like in a mall.
Yeah.
So there's like a hallway where all the
this is
stores
Ben's
connect
Pretzels
together.
in a mall?
Jefferson Point.
So you fucked in the Jefferson Point Mall?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's this little hallway where all the stores connect to each other or whatever, and no one ever went in them. So we closed that night, and we went back there, and it was clear to her, she had a little bit more experience than I did. It was clear to her that I had no idea what I was doing. And so she took charge, which I was very thankful for. And I couldn't get hard. I was so nervous.
Oh, no.
I didn't have my license yet. So my someone came and picked me up. Like someone would always come and pick me up from work. And I was like, I had to text my mom, hey, we're a little bit behind, or some lame excuse.
And she's the manager of the place.
Yeah, and she's the manager at the place. So I couldn't get hard. And then I finally did. It's all a blur. I was so nervous.
You guys didn't do anything like crazy? Like you didn't like put a pretzel on your dick and have her like
No.
or something like that? No.
No, on the
Why?
first time.
I mean, you had not the first time.
No.
You got more experimental the more times.
Yeah.
Because you guys still work together.
Yeah.
How many
Anywho.
times do you think you fucked in the Ben's pretzels?
How many times? It's countless. A lot.
You really-
On the clock, off the clock, during work, after work, when both of us weren't even working. That's the only place we had ever fucked.
Ben's pretzels.
Ben's Pretzels.
Ben's pretzels.
I probably shouldn't be
Speaking of
saying
that-
this on the internet.
Speaking of that, ad read for Ben's pretzels.
Undisclosed pretzel store that isn't Annie Ann's.
I'll just bleep it out. Nobody will know.
I don't care.
You said undisclosed pretzel store isn't Andy
That
Ann's.
isn't Annie Ann's.
I can't think of another pretzel store other than Ben's Pretzels and Andy Ann's.
You wouldn't be able to think of Ben's Pretzels if I hadn't worked there.
No, I've seen it before.
Mm.
I've seen. There's one in the mall. I remember. I recall. Or not the mall. The indie mall. So yes, the mall. But okay, so high school happened. How'd we meet? Alana. Who's Alana, Brett? They know who Alana is, I think. Do they?
Yeah, she's been in the vlogs. Everybody shut up. We're talking about drugs.
Oh, yeah?
She was in the background of a couple of them.
was,
She's
yeah.
not
I
been
think
a
that's all
focal
it
point.
is, though.
Um,
I need to get her in the vlogs more often. People got to know who she is, especially after this podcast, because I'm going to have you tell that story.
How are you going to get her in the vlogs? Look, she's 1,016 miles away.
I go back to visit. When this whole Corona thing's done, then she'll be over at Dalton's house occasionally. And so, I like on that Saturday night that we were over at Dalton's house while we were there, we should have recorded
Luke, this
that,
podcast is about me. Thank you.
So that is how we met, Alana. I was dating someone at the time, and you and Dalton were fighting over Alana. Not
See,
fighting.
that's the thing,
Not
that's-
fighting, but more of like a. It was a friendly competition almost. And you guys.
It
both
really
knew that
was.
It kind of was a competition.
It really was like a friendly competition, yeah. Because, like, if it was any other motherfucker other than Dalton, I would have hated his guts. But Dalton and I would sit and, like, smoke a bowl and, like, just, like, talk until, like, 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird because we both definitely liked Alana and we both definitely wanted to be with Alana. And
But y'all were bros, and you didn't really care. And you guys both wanted to get with her before you met each other.
mhm.
If
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it wasn't like it was like, yeah, like we met each other on that term. So it was even stranger in
you
that
guys
sense.
were just both one of her hoes while she had a boyfriend.
Okay. I didn't say that.
No, it's not real. Anyway, Alana. Go back to Alana.
What about her?
How'd you meet Alana? You went to school with Alana.
Yes, but I never knew her in school. My buddy Thorne invited me over to a girl named Hope's place, and Hope was friends with Alana, and then we met there. And actually, we hit it off like pretty much instantly. Like we had pretty much an immediate connection. But she had a boyfriend at the time, and then she broke up with that boyfriend. We had a thing for a little bit, and then that thing stopped. And then the next summer is when I met you guys, when the thing started back up again. Yeah, that's how we met. But I didn't really ever meet you because you were with your girlfriend. So I wasn't close with you.
Yeah, that was I mean, yeah, that was interesting because Dalton and Gabe were living at my house at the time, though, and you guys were over there a lot, and that's the only reason I really saw you guys, because you were over there hanging out with all of us. Other than that, like, you guys went to Peyton Park and things like that a lot, in which I did
Yeah.
not do because I was tied down.
We went on all kinds of summer's adventures on the marijuanas. But no, you weren't a part of that. You and I didn't get even like I wouldn't even say that I was your friend during that time. Like
No,
I
we
didn't
weren't.
I
We were
didn't
just
know
like,
you.
We talked a little bit, but not a lot at all.
But then I got reintroduced to you guys in the fall of whatever year. I don't really care what year. No one cares what year. But I got reintroduced to you guys in the fall when me and Alana decided to just be friends and keep it that way. And yeah, and then ever since then, yeah, we've been friends.
Yeah. And that brings us up to date. We talked you into coming down to Florida. I guess, yeah, Brett didn't come down to Florida.
Jagger talked me down to coming into Florida.
Jagger.
The only
we both
human
kinda did.
I'm sure you influenced what he had to say. It was all Jagger.
It was, yeah, Jagger's
Jagger,
dog.
like Jagger is the only person that can convince me to do pretty much anything.
What happened? Well, he had talked to me, and he was like, "We need to go have a conversation with Brett because." Correct me if I'm wrong, but he said that you were, when we left, after we left, not because we left or anything, but you were just depressed and you didn't know what you were really doing.
I wouldn't say
You were
depressed. I would
confused.
say I was like spinning my wheels in sand. Like, just wasn't going
you
anywhere.
weren't at 100%.
Yeah.
And you didn't, he made it to me sound like you just didn't know what you wanted to do. You knew you
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to do
fair.
something, but you didn't know what you wanted
Yeah,
to do.
that's pretty much exactly
So
it.
we talked about it a little bit, and we found out exactly what we wanted to say. Jagger ended up saying it all, but then you moved down here February. But we talked you into it pretty much a week or two after I got here. In October, we had talked you into it and said that you said you were going to come down after winter break.
I don't remember that, but yeah.
And now you're down here. So hell yeah. How was your experience down here before we went back, I guess? Because it was only a month. But
Oh, fantastic. I mean, fantastic in all the weirdest ways in the sense that it should not have been fantastic. Like, we had, like, drama and stuff, but I was operating on, like, full force. Like, I mean, you saw me.
oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
You comment on that more because I haven't talked to you about that. Like, I was, like, flowing like a motherfucker. I was, like...
Well, so the way it was when we were in Fort Wayne is that we were, like, towards the ending part of me being in Fort Wayne, we were really fucking good friends. We were really close friends right before I moved. And I only saw you, though, when we were hanging out because we didn't live together, so it was literally just purely hanging out. I didn't get to see Brett behind the scenes. When you came down here, our buddy Jagger was going through some things. You were helping him through that. And that's where a lot of your time went. But you were constantly go, go, go. Like, you wanted to do things constantly, like, always. Either if you weren't with us hanging out, you were constantly working or doing something for yourself to better yourself. I saw that behind-the-scenes part of Brett that you had talked about in Indiana, and I didn't get to see. So, yeah, you were definitely in what you like to call the flow mind state.
Bro, the flow mind state.
Explain that to
All
me.
right. You've seen The Matrix. A lot of people have seen The Matrix. The scene where the black guy, not Neo, but the black guy, like the leader or whatever, I forget his name in the movie, but they're in the city and they're in the regular world, and he is like fucking like, it's this crowd of people in New York City on the sidewalk, and he's just going just straight through them, like no effort whatsoever. Whereas Neo, he's like first beginning to learn the ropes of being in the Matrix, and he was like bumping into people like, oh, I'm sorry, like constantly getting interrupted. Being in the flow state is what the black guy is doing. What's his name? It's a dope ass name. It's like fucking Demetrius, like a Greek god or something.
Something idious.
Yeah, Insidious. No, it's not Insidious,
It's not Insidious.
but it's something idious. You're right.
Welcome to Tuesdays where we try to think of actors' names.
It's not his actor's names. It's his
Oh,
character.
shit, his character's name.
Don't fuck me. Don't fuck me. Don't fuck me. Don't fuck me if I know the actor's name. But anyway,
Oh, God.
like it's the flow mind state is just like the constant flowing with everything that's happening, not being affected by it, but allowing yourself to be affected by it,
Right.
not resisting the change that's happened, that's
And just
constantly
flowing
going
with
on,
it,
and just
going
going
with
with
it
it.
every time.
And life is that. Life's supposed to be that. That's that's where humans are supposed to be. Yet we're not taught any of that, and there's very few books or anything that teaches that.
And you were in that very well.
Yeah,
Right before
like
you
so deep into it, I didn't even know I was in it until I had left and got to see it from a different perspective.
Yeah, because
Where
when you
I-
got to Indiana, you couldn't be in that anymore.
no, there's.
really.
I mean,
Because we
I
were
found my own flow, but
home.
not like that. Yeah.
So how are you now that you're back? Now that we're back in Florida, now that we're back trying to get on track, obviously the fact that I'm even doing a podcast means that we're kind of back on track, right?
Well, it's the first day. Like this is like what I consider
It's-
the
yeah,
first
it's
day.
the first day.
What do you mean?
How do you plan on getting back into that mindset?
The thing
do you
is-
think it's going
the
to
thing
be
is-
the
is-
same like steps to get there, or do you think you're just going to be back in it? Or
I'm pretty much always in it now, more or less. No, I'm never living my life not that way ever again. Like it would, like I don't know. It's so amazing and so easy and fun, and like people, like older people might say like, oh, easy and fun, that's not how life is. Says who?
That's true. Yeah, people do say that a lot. Too.
Life,
I notice that a lot. People are always.
Well, look at the world around us.
saying that
Who's having an easy, fun, good time? Not very many people.
That's true. So people just think it's normal. But you can do things to make it an easy, fun life. It's just people think that in order to do that, you either have to do so much work and it's almost impossible to get there, so they don't even try. Or I feel like most people just think that they can't live
the thing is,
easy, happy life living 9 to 5. Or working 9 to 5, living that 9 to 5 Monday through Friday lifestyle.
And I mean, that's not necessarily where I was going with it. What I mean is like I don't think most people are even aware when they're in the flow state. Given that I wasn't even aware when I was in it until I got a chance to be outside of it and look at it. Most people aren't even aware that a flow state even exists, that it's even a state of mind. That's what it is. It's a state of mind. It's not, nothing's changing about your surroundings or anything else. Nothing's changing about what's going on in your life. It's simply the way you perceive it and simply the way that you allow it to affect you. So most people aren't even aware that it exists, and if they are in it, they're not even aware that they're in it. And when they're out of it, they're not aware that they were in it or ever. It's simply a lack of awareness in most humans.
Is it just something that you can, like, how did you said yourself that you didn't figure out that you were in that flow mind state until you left it. So would you say most people don't even know that they're, or like all people really don't realize that they're in that mind state?
I would say, yeah. Based on my experience, all people.
They get in that mind state, and then when they're out of that mind state,
it's just like
they realize that they were in.
No, I think they just think, oh, now things are bad.
Oh, okay. Is that what you thought?
No. I realized, oh wait, that's this thing. That's this thing that I've been looking for this whole time.
So if you could give advice to people that do think that it's bad.
Oh, it's never bad.
That it's bad when your life changes just like that.
It's never bad. It's never ever bad.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is bad. Nothing is bad. Shakespeare said something or something along these lines of, nothing is good or bad. It's only thought that makes it so. So basically, the things that happen, and then based on my or your lens, says it's good or bad. So like, if Maya shit on the floor right now. Maya's dog right here. Is she in the frame? She's laying down on the floor. If Maya shit on the floor, that happened. You could look at it as a good or bad thing. That's within your control and within your parameters. And you could be like, Maya shit on the floor. That's bad. But then it might lead to all these other things that are good. It's basically, if I were to like, I don't understand it myself yet, so it's hard for me to give advice. It's finding the silver lining in things. It's optimism, but not like a lot of people think optimism is delusion. Like that's what I used to think, definitely, as like a hardcore atheist, like fucking like not even materialist, but like cold universe that we are in a rock floating, in an infinite nothingness. Wait, what did I just say? Shit.
You were going on with the flow mind state.
Son of a bitch, I lost it completely.
Well, the moral of that was that nothing. Oh, that's bad.
Right. Optimism isn't delusional. It's optimism with logic. So like, okay, Maya shit on the floor, but that led to you cleaning it up and then you walking outside and talking to Jazz, and you two had a really good conversation or something like that.
Something is going to lead to something else.
It always leads to good. Everything's okay. Like, even if the worst possible thing, and it's okay. It's not like if something bad happens, you can't be affected by it and be affected in a negative way. That's cool. And in fact, it's healthy. But it's with the added mindset of, okay, what can I get from this? What can I learn from this? How can I learn from this negative point of view? Because in all honesty, like, for me personally, where I learn the most is like the extremes.
Of course. That's where most people should learn most things.
But the thing is that a lot of people are uncomfortable with the extremes. People don't want things to change. They're constantly resisting change. Like just in this ball of bundled nerve and energy that just...
And people's mindsets would be way better if they just appreciated it and realized that it's gonna happen, it has to happen, and you're gonna have to deal with it.
No, exactly. If people just let go of things that they try to make happen and just accept things for what they are, then the natural result that most people come to once they've entered that state of mind is hot.
Thanks. All right, real quick, just to clarify, fuck it. My camera records 30 minutes at a time. So, oh my God, they're seeing my hair. Oh no. My camera records 30 minutes at a time. So we stopped it at the beginning recording, and then we started another one, and the audio completely didn't record, and I burped in the last one too, and and he said hot. So it happened again. Anyway, go on.
The natural conclusion that most people come to once they realize that if they let go of control, you gain control.
Of course.
If you start to realize that what's happening to you is the best thing that could possibly happen, whatever it is.
Well,
and you can integrate yourself into those patterns and into that sort of state of mind, and you can make what you want happen, but in a paradoxical way, not in the way that Western society teaches us to. Like, in Western society, we're taught to, like, work really hard. If you work and you work and you work and you work, you'll find what you get. But sometimes life is like quicksand, and the harder you try and get out of the quicksand, the more it sucks you in. Sometimes you just have to, like, sit back, relax, and just let it happen. Let it happen.
And I totally agree with that. And I've come to terms more with that recently. But for some people, it's just so difficult. It's so because.
But why is it difficult?
Change is hard. Change is fucking hard.
Is why is change hard if it's inevitable?
Okay, change is inevitable usually with small things. Change is inevitable regardless, but most of the time, correct me if I'm wrong in your experience, but it's usually with small things and people can just get over it. When change happens with the big thing, that's when people tend to freak out, people tend to stress, like this corona thing. Everyone's staying inside.
That's the best time to embrace the change, because if most of the time change is kind of within your control, at least, like, you can pretend like you're in control with corona. As an example, I think it's the perfect time for people to realize that they have no control over it. Let it go. Let go. Let it happen. Lean into it a little bit even. You know, like I was talking about earlier, like how I went to my grandparents, and did that get on the... Yeah.
Like we said, guys, this is the second take.
I leaned into the change.
Mm-hmm.
I drove myself crazy for maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
I realized what was there. I came out of the craziness, out of the extreme that I pushed myself into.
Okay.
And came out and was able to flow with the change better. So if you lean into things a little bit, lean into the good and to the bad, I think the way that my brain works, I think that it can only do good.
Okay.
It leads people.
Correct. And going off of how your brain works, you understand that your brain works way different than most people in the United States, right?
My brain works differently in the sense of, like, the nuts and bolts of it.
Correct.
I believe that there's a fundamental state to how the human brain works.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all humans.
Uh-huh.
We have the same fucking shit within us. There's a way. Oh, did you guys like my burp? There's a fundamental way in which we all think. And there's a fundamental way in which we are a part of everything else. Like we in Western society like to think that we're like disconnected from nature and disconnected from the outside world as a whole.
I've never felt that.
What do you mean?
Why do you say that first? I've never felt disconnected with nature, disconnected with society.
We as humans think we're different.
Correct, but you said here in the Western culture, which we're basically talking about the United States.
Well, Western cultures in Germany, England, any
Oh, okay.
Western society, like as opposed to Eastern society, Asia, Japan, things like that. Although Japan is now becoming more Western and Western as we speak. Western in the sense of like monotheism, things like that.
Okay.
Democracy, stuff like that. We conquer nature. That's, if we can't build a road, then we destroy the mountain type shit. When in reality, us and the mountain and us and the deer and us and that dog right there are no different. We are one with it.
So in the specific situation, you're saying rather than destroying the mountain and creating something over it, you would rather someone make that path through the mountain. Basically saying, like, don't get rid of every single obstacle in your way of trying to get to where you're going. Go through the obstacles that you come across.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. We can speak in terms of Western society and these abstract things, but, where it really gets good is when it gets personal, Like, how does it affect you and how does it affect me? So, I can say from your, correct me if I'm wrong, but I see you as someone who's just entering this new way of life.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go into this real quick. Basically what happened was my life when I was born through 18 years old or through high school, I went to the same school district. I went to a predominantly white school, not much culture, not much different, a lot of preppy kids. And I just went through life with like the same friend group too. Like I had these friends, Dalton, Dion, and Gabe. Every weekend we would go over to Dion's house. We'd smoke weed and we would exactly we do the exact same things. And I never got to branch out. And I just went to school and I learned what I had to do. And I was just waiting for the next like step of life. I didn't come to the realization that I needed to get out of that bubble until after I graduated high school. I dated this girl, Natalie. We went through this thing. We broke up. That's when you started getting in my life. But after we broke up, that's when I really started to get out of the bubble. And I know I'm still in.
What about Natalie made you realize to get out of it? Was it like just to give an example, like was it like you were unhappy and you didn't even know you were unhappy?
I think that I thought I was handling everything correct. Okay, yeah, okay. I thought I was handling everything correct. I don't think I was and now I don't think I was handling everything correctly. But in my mind, I was at the time. And now after you, after so many like years, it's been like 2 years or something like that since that happened. Now my mind would completely be different. I don't know how to describe it better than that without getting into the whole story. Which we'll get to the story on my ex, but it'll be on a different podcast.
You thought you were doing everything you were supposed to do.
Correct.
Supposed to do.
Correct.
Supposed
Yeah.
Is the correct. But
yeah.
Since when is the supposed thing the right thing?
Oh, you don't know.
You're supposed to do.
You don't know though.
No.
Yeah. When you're doing it, you don't know at least. You think that what you're supposed to do is the right thing until you're out of that. Mm-hmm. Until you realize that, oh, what I've been told to do all these years isn't actually something that I should be doing because it's not what I want to do. It's not making me happy. Like the point of us being here is to be happy. It's for us to realize, like, to do things that are going to make us.
But I agree completely.
Okay.
I believe that what other logical reason would it for our existence would fuck me.
When? Wait. Picture I'm the Bren's principal goals.
No, I don't think anyone can give me a better reason for us to be here other than our own happiness.
Mhm.
Each individual's happiness.
Correct.
But the way I see things right now, I look around and it's just no one's happy. I believe 90% of people don't feel like they're good enough. That's not
sounds-
that's not directly happiness, but if you don't feel like you're good enough, how can you ever be happy? How do we as a society keep producing people who believe that they're not good enough?
Because other people have things to say. No one like. No, I'm not gonna say no one. I'm not gonna say no one because you're sitting across from me. But so many people hate when somebody has something to say about what they're passionate about, and it gets to them. It gets to people, especially in this society that we've grown up in with social media and all. Everything becomes so much easier for people to be victimized and people to feel victim. There is times where people are victimized and they should feel victim. But there's times where people feel like they're being victimized, but it's them. Yeah, it's them, 100%. And then that makes them completely give up because they're like, all right, I got to start something completely new. But that does
not even give up. Maybe in some cases.
In the severe cases, that does happen. From personal experience, I can tell you.
It's not even give up. I think it could absolutely be the opposite in resistance. So just as an example, and probably a bad one, but atheism and Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
They're going at each other.
Yeah.
They're constantly fighting. Or science versus religion, or whatever you want to, anything versus anything. Republicans versus Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
They're just constantly battling it out. At what point do they become the same thing? If two things are constantly opposing each other, and you zoom out of that thing, you realize the two things are the same thing. They're on the same spectrum. This might be this is going to be a crackhead thought. I'm going to see if I can narrow it down a little bit.
Maybe a crackhead thought. Prepare yourself.
All right. Prepare yourself. Let's take black and white, for example.
All right.
One can't exist without the other. You need black to have white, and you need white to have black. You need up to have down, and you need down to have up.
Okay.
If you can't have one without the other, then they're the same thing. In a sense.
I see where you're going, but I want you to elaborate more on it. When two things need each other, then they're essentially the same thing. When two things are dependent on each other.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So without the belief in a God, you can't have a lack of a belief in God.
So in this situation specifically, you go somebody's opinion. That's confusing to me. Somebody's opinion can't be their opinion without you having an opinion too?
Yeah. How am I supposed to know
what no, that makes so much more sense after it came out of my mouth.
How can I know what I believe if I can't oppose your beliefs?
True. No, you're right. Yeah, because in those situations, especially because we've gotten into arguments. No, we've gotten into arguments before where it's well, first of all, they're always just stupid. They're mostly just stupid little things, and it's like I wouldn't have the opinion I had if you didn't bring up something differently. Like somebody will bring something up to me, and I will. My first instinct is to think of like the opposite of what that is and think if that thing's logical. And then if that thing's logical, that's when I usually start to kind of persuade on the other side to them. But if the other thing's logical, if that thing isn't even logical, I don't even consider having the conversation.
Right.
Because it's not worth it.
So what were you talking about before?
I don't know what I was going for. I think I completely strayed off.
Yeah. No, we both did. That's cool. That's the best when that happens.
It is. It's the best, but it's the best, but it's the worst. I think so. But it's the best, but it's the worst because like we're straying off. We're getting into a new conversation, but then in the back of your mind, you're like, Like, where were we going?
Yeah.
Of course.
That can eventually.
Nah, because, this is where we are now, and we just need to, go with it. Because this is the obstacle.
There you go. The obstacle is the path, or some fucking guru bullshit like that.
Totally.
Like, ugh. My biggest thing is like, what the fuck is happening? Like, when I look at the world, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're not doing things correctly.
No.
We're not doing
We're
things
not.
that makes us happy.
No, we're just doing what
We're constantly living the life that we don't want to live in order to keep living the life we don't want to live.
No, because we're told to do that. Because while you're in school at the beginning, you're told to do that. Every single thing you're doing in your schooling is you're being told to follow directions. That's all school is just following directions.
Right. Well, I get that it's conditioning. But there's no secret to it. It's just doing what you want. It's whatever makes you happy. And honestly, if I were to go around and ask people in a mall or some shit, are you happy? That would make people uncomfortable.
The thing is with this society, you go up to someone in the mall and you ask if someone's happy, they're gonna give you a answer that you want to that not even that you want to hear, that they're gonna want to give. They're gonna go, yeah, I'm happy, and then they're gonna skip past it. They're not gonna want to get into that. Because that's how society is.
Yeah, exactly. That is how it is. We're not taught to really ask ourselves if we're happy, if we're truly, genuinely living the life that we want to live. Blows my mind that people aren't doing that. Blows my mind that people aren't diving into the deeper questions of life. Am I happy? Who am I? What is the relationship I have with myself?
Because people don't find the need to. People are like, okay, I'm here, so I'm going to do what everyone else is doing. People see someone doing something. You see, even in just like a normal job, like you're in your cubicle, you see someone, because that's its own society in itself. You're at an office place. Let's say this workplace is its own society. You are one of the lower people. Let's say you were newly hired or something. You see someone that's constantly been like employee of the month. You see someone that's been praised by the manager. And if this is your job now, you are going to work to do as much as you can to be like that person because they're being praised by everybody else. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You just want to do what everybody else is doing that's helping them succeed.
Okay. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Would you agree that it comes from a place of needing the approval of others?
Of course. Yeah.
The approval of others, caring what other people think.
Everybody cares what not everybody cares what other people think, but most people care. No, that's why I'm sitting across from you. I know that not everybody thinks that.
Even you, one of my closest friends, if you were to say something about me, and I would think about it, and like if you were to say like Brett's a fucking shithead or whatever, I would think about it.
Okay, here's the difference there. You do things how it's supposed to be done, in my opinion. If there's somebody that you don't care about at all, and that doesn't care about you, and they say something to you, you're gonna blow it off completely. You're gonna be, unless it's a positive thing. Like, if it's a negative thing, you're just going to be like, fuck that.
If it's a positive,
I don't care. Really? Okay, see, that's where I don't agree with. I think if somebody you don't know says something to you positively, you should take that and embrace it.
Question it even more.
Why?
Because.
You think they're being fake?
No. I don't want it to supplement my ego. So, like, when Drew was over here.
You don't want your ego to get too high?
Yeah. No, ego's bad.
Okay.
Ego's always bad.
Okay.
When Drew was over here the other night, and I helped him through some stuff or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, you're an amazing person." That didn't make me feel good. It threw me off. It's like, okay, why am I a good person? How am I a good person? Like, I just did what I felt was right.
See, and he said that based off of what you had just done for him, because you guys had a really deep conversation about something. Mm-hmm. that make
He was watching me have a conversation with others, but yeah.
correct. But the thing is, he didn't mean that in that way. He didn't mean you're an amazing person because he knew everything that you've done, and he literally thought that you were an amazing person. He just thought you were there for him. You were helping him out with something, and he was very, very grateful. And that was just his way of showing gratefulness.
Because that's the only way I'm taking it. Within the context of that conversation, I don't see how I'm a good person.
Okay.
I mean, I
can see why you're going that direction. I'm just saying he's just.
I do see how I was a good person for helping him through some stuff, but I don't let that affect me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't add or detract anything from me. It's just someone saying something, and then I take it for what it is, and I question it, and I apply it to myself. So if someone were to say anything good or bad, it would be, okay, why am I this? How am I this? Am I this? It's just thinking for yourself, thinking critically, like actually critically, like the critical thinking skills they teach in this class is simple analyzation. Critical thinking.
But you're analyzing something very, very deep. That was just a simple compliment. He didn't mean something that like, you're a life-changing person. You're gonna fucking do this and this and this. Like, he was literally just complimenting you, and that's the context that it was in too.
What he did say is that, no, you changed my life.
Well, first of all, you did.
I don't see how.
Debate the situation is why, which I can't get into, obviously.
Why? Again, back to the statistic. 90% of people feel like they're not good enough. How are we living life that way? How can anyone be living life in a way that they think they're not good enough or that they're not happy?
Most people just don't find what they want to do. They just don't
even look for it.
Yeah, no, not at all. Well, because when we're raised, now especially, most people want to do something that's unordinary. Most people are very original. You don't find people very often that are like Dalton that's like, yeah, I want to be a hedge fund manager. But even that, like, in itself, like, that's like the top of in business. Like, that's one of the top things in business. And he wanted to do that. So not many people strive for that because they're like, oh, that's so, especially in the Midwest, the 9 to 5 fucking their work lifestyle, Monday through Friday in the Midwest is fucking incredible. And people don't want to stray out. Like, that's why I got out of there, because I know I want to do something different.
There's nothing wrong with that lifestyle, but it's are you really, are people really thinking, is this what I want to do? I don't think people really understand that this is it. Even if you were a Christian and you think that there's an afterlife, this is still the only real life you're going to, this is the only time you're ever going to experience this being of consciousness.
See, I think people have that thought. I think people do think that, but they just don't capitalize on it. Yeah, not at all.
Well, in my opinion, why pursue anything else? That's the question, isn't it? All right. So if the question isn't, all right, let's say the question is, where do we go after we die?
Okay.
You can't answer that. No one can. People might think they have the answers. No one knows for sure.
Correct.
Then the question has to become, okay, well, how can I make the most of my life? How can I be the happiest? People don't pursue that. There's no way in hell that what makes people happiest is high school, college, kid. That can't make most people happy. It might make some
people they are happy just having that family, having that life that they got to go to school, go to work, and then having a family to support. Having that loving family. That's understandable for people. I get that. Totally.
And it's not that that's bad. It's like pick me up, Daddy-o.
Pick you up?
Pick me up.
I don't know why that's not bad. Because it's not bad. it's good to be like people are genuinely happy when they're doing that. Some people, but not all people. The people that aren't happy doing that, most of them just don't capitalize on what they want to do. Most of those people are usually, I feel like people just tend to be creative. Like a lot of people are very creative and they don't do anything about that creativity.
Everyone's creative. That's what we as humans are. We're constantly creating everything.
Correct.
I
guess I should have worded that differently. Most people are creative in an abnormal way. A lot of people are creative in an abnormal way. And since that idea is abnormal, they don't want to do it at all. They don't even want to try because they just want to do something that they know they'll at least get by doing. Because if you're, let's say, an artist, there's artists out there. Like, there's people that I've been friends with that I'm like, holy fuck, like, your art is really good. Right. Like, I don't know much about art, but, like, I could tell that it was just, like the detail they put into
Percy,
it.
for example.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, he's not an artist, but he makes music.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, like, really good.
Correct.
Especially for being not very experienced. He's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to him about it, and it blew my mind. He said, this is just my brain translated into,
music.
Reality.
Yeah.
And every human being can experience that. Everyone is a genius in their own right. It's about finding it and, like, follow it. Follow your genius. Follow what you're good at. I feel like only good things can come out of it. How could it not? If everyone's doing what they love the most, how could it not be good?
No, and that's true. Like, that is, like, obviously it would be good. It's just not going to happen. I don't see it ever. It's never going to happen. Not everybody in the world is going to be able to get something that makes them happy, and that's understandable. But the people that don't even try, that's what upsets me, and that's what we're talking about. Oh, it is. And I think that
most people think about, okay, what's going to make me the most money? What?
That is
money.
But that's what they teach you in school too, almost.
Yeah,
they almost teach you that, like, yeah, you want to get good grades. Why? So you can get into a good college. Why do you want to go to a good college? Oh, because you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or something. Oh, why do you want to be a lawyer or a doctor? Because you enjoy doing surgeries on people? Because first of all, lawyers, I can understand why they like their job. Because I feel like I would enjoy being a lawyer, but there's no fucking way I could go to fucking law school.
I interned at a public defender's office my senior year, and there was plenty of lawyers who did not enjoy being lawyers.
That's the point. Because they're doing something they don't want to do because it makes them money, and money doesn't mean happiness.
No. But then again, a lot of my friends have justified that behavior in terms of, my career won't dictate my happiness, but when I make that money, I will do something with that money to make me happy.
Okay.
Which is legitimate, but how many people do you see around you actually doing that?
Not many.
How many older people do you see doing that? Taking the money they make and using it to make them happier. Because what I see in my subjective experience is people make the money and then they spend money on things. House.
Correct.
Cars, whatever. Do things make you happy?
That's situational. You could have had a dream as a kid to have the brand and model of car that you fucking wanted forever. Mm-hmm. You worked your ass off. Mm-hmm. You finally came to a point where you could get that car and still be comfortable with money. I feel like at that point, I'd be pretty happy. And I'd be pretty happy every single time I looked at that car. Not because of the car. That's the difference. It's because of it's because of what that car means. It means that I came from this to this, and I was able to actually do what I attempted to do. That's what happiness isn't based off of objects. It's based off of your lifestyle, the relationships you have with people, the things you do. Correct. Everything. But it's not the actual object. It's what the object means. Okay, it's the symbol behind it.
That's fair. Well,
But people
what about again, we kind of zoomed out the conversation, which is cool and fun, but in reality it doesn't mean much. Personally, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? What makes me happy is, well, recently, or actually, I'm going to say back to, I'm going to take it the time period from when I got out of high school, or me and my girlfriend broke up, to now, because that's been the time that I've learned the most. And what has made me happy during that time is overcoming challenges, overcoming anything in my life. I've experienced challenges through that time that I'm not going to go into right now, but when I got through them, it was the best feeling, like the best feeling of ecstasy that I could feel in my fucking life. And even like little things though, like little tasks, like my vlog. Like I know I brought that up before, but like when I edit my vlog and I make it and I look at it and like I think it's good, I post it and people give me comments back saying that it was good, I feel so happy, because something that I made was actually not only making other people happy and inspiring them, but like I did it by myself. Like it was something like that I did. I don't make my vlogs by myself.
Not too much to do.
I mean, yeah, but like I'm just holding a camera and editing. You guys do all the heavy lifting for me. Thank you.
No, it's pretty much you. Like, no, it's all you.
No, it is. You're right. I was just giving you credit. Giving you guys a little bit of credit, where you need it.
I'm the funniest one in the vlogs, by the way.
Shut the fuck up.
Am I wrong?
Let's see if you're the funniest one in this new vlog that's coming out soon.
Okay.
No, that we're running out of time.
Are we?
So, yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's almost been an hour, bro. I think it has been an hour.
How much time?
Like I should have knocked on the table a minute ago. Yeah, dude, time flies, bro. But this was a really good podcast. We're going to be uploading. It's probably going to be every week for a little while now. We're on we're in that flow mind state right now where we're just going. There'll probably be a podcast up every week. I'm going to try to get a vlog up every week. You guys are going to see new faces. It's not just going to be me and Luke anymore. Next week, I'll either have Gracie or Dylan on. The week after that, I'll probably have the opposite of whichever one. So yeah, it's been fun. Thank you guys so much. Please like and subscribe, and just make sure to check back next week, because we will have some more interesting things to talk about, I promise. Anything else you want to add, Brett, before we take off?
Do what you want. Be happy with yourself. Feel adequate. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye.
I'm so into you, into you. I'm so into you.